in the UK, a question that affects thousands of women who were born in the 1950s right now, is whether they should be paid compensation after the state pension age was changed. An investigation by the Parliamentary and Health Service Ombudsman has said the government should do the right thing. But whilst it can recommend compensation, it can't enforce it. The report suggests that in the sample cases it's seen, women should receive compensation ranging between £1,000 and nearly £3,000. Well, the 1995 Pensions Act raised the state pension age for women who were born on or after the 6th of April 1950. It was designed to bring that into line with the age for men. Well, Jonathan Josephs is following this story for us. He's in the newsroom. And Jonathan, just remind us here, who would be affected by this change?
So, Ben, there aren't exact numbers. It's a bit hard to be certain, but we think it's around 2.6 million women that could be affected by this across the UK. And what's at the heart of this is a question that economists and governments around the world are grappling with, which is how do we pay for an ageing society? The average age of populations around the world is increasing, and thus governments are having to push up the age at which people can get their pensions. And that's what's driven these changes that have caused this problem. Now, you've seen wide-scale protests, for instance, in France last year. So it's definitely an issue that is affecting many countries because also with less people in work and lower birth rates, there are less people to tax in terms of being able to raise the money to pay for these pensions. Now, in the UK, the government laid out changes to address all of this in 1995, and there was a timetable of things being phased in. But in 2010, the government, that was the Conservative and Liberal Democrat coalition, as it was at the time, led by David Cameron, decided to accelerate those changes. It was a time when government finances were under particular pressure because of the global financial crisis, and this was a way of perhaps saving even more money. And the problem here is that those changes weren't communicated properly. That's what the Ombudsman has said in its report today. And that meant that these women that have been affected weren't able to plan their financial futures properly. And that's something that's become even more acute in the last few years because of the increasing cost of living. And the Ombudsman has said in this report today that they should be entitled to compensation because of this poor communication that affected them so much.
And Jonathan, I mean, the challenge, of course, I guess the Ombudsman has made these recommendations. As I said, it's not binding. So how likely is it, do we think, that these women will get this compensation?
As you say, Ben, the Ombudsman's recommendations aren't binding, but they say they're taking the step of pushing this to Parliament so that Parliament can act on all of this, because they say that the Department of Work and Pensions, the UK government department involved here, has said that it won't cooperate, it doesn't want to pay out this money. But the women are hopeful. They're pushing for compensation payments of around £10,000 each, which is about $12,000, $13,000 if you prefer. But having looked at how many people are affected, that could be a bill for the government. Well, if they get what the Ombudsman is saying of between £1,000 and £3,000, so if you go to that £3,000, you'd be looking at a compensation bill of about £7.7 billion or about $10 billion, which is money the government can scarcely afford given the finances are under strain at the moment. Although this is an election year, so who knows if they'll find the money down the back of the sofa, but we haven't had a proper government response just yet.
Jonathan, good to see you. Thanks very much, Jonathan Josephs there. You're up to date. Those are your business headlines this hour. We'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.